morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ritesh Gosai. I'm the Manager Investment Planning at Investment Fiji. And on behalf of my chairman, board members, I would like to thank the organizers of these seminars for giving me the opportunity to actively participate and present in this workshop. I hope your morning tea was okay, because my slides are around 31 slides. And Rajni, look at me and go next. Go next. 31 slides, no, up. 31 slides, and my outline is as such. Why invest in Fiji? I did analysis in this morning, which I'll elaborate on. Some of the investment opportunities that are available in Fiji, Investment Fiji's role, the process, the registration, the facilitation, the monitoring role that Investment Fiji does, some trend overall, and Australian investors' trend, some reforms that Investment Fiji has done in order to improve investment in Fiji, way forward, and followed by a conclusion. Next. Apart from the slides that I have done, I did this today. And this slide had actually given me the opportunity to analyze the trade, the tourist, and the investment data that is available in Fiji, the trade and investment relationship between Australia and Fiji. Well, as an analysis, or as a snapshot, we can see that Fiji imports around 706 million worth of goods and services, whereas Fiji does export goods to Australia, worth around 277 million. As you know, the third point, the tourist arrival is the main source of income, and yes, Australia contributes 51% of tourist arrival in Fiji. And obviously, in terms of investment, we have seen from 2010 to 2013, around 500 million worth of investment has been proposed by Australian investors in Fiji. And the sector that they are focusing on is predominantly in the services and tourism sector. We note that wholesale, retail, agriculture is growing, but the trend shows services and tourism as the key sectors. Why would you invest in Fiji? Apart from the wonderful opportunities that is available, I picked a handful. And this is what I have articulated as such. Fiji is a center of trading in the South Pacific. GDP is estimated to be growing around 3.6% this year, 3.8% next year, as Arif Ali had presented earlier. We have a well-educated workforce with a literacy level around 93.7%. We have an attractive investment package of trade and investment incentives, including duty concession, investment allowance, tax exemption, and tax-free regions. Wow, that's a big statement. And the participants who are presenting in this workshop will prove that. I think so. The next presenter is from FERCA. She will be able to elaborate how is that Fiji government has given a good corporate tax rate. How is that Fiji government has promoted more tax-free zones. How is that Fiji government has given more incentives, more support for both local and foreign investors. Third point, as I mentioned, government is supporting local and foreign investors. We have state-of-art technological telecommunication infrastructure, well-developed infrastructure, including the utilities, availability of factories and lands at a reasonable rate, well-developed banking and financial institution, good health and medical facilities, including a modern private hospital and medical center. Next slide. Once you have focused on why to invest in Fiji, as instructed, I will be only focusing on 4 major sectors. Agriculture. If you look, agriculture is the third largest growing sector, which contributes around $400 million annually, or 9.5% of the GDP. Main commodities include root crops, tropical fruits and vegetables. And what are the opportunities in this sector? The government is focusing on the dairy industry as a key focus, animal feed supply, organic farming, and mixed farming. Last year, in terms of mixed farming, we have seen a surge in which around 10% of investors have shown interest in the agriculture sector, mixed farming. So that is one of the key sectors or industries which you can focus on. Next slide. The other sector, information communication technology. This is one of the growing sectors in Fiji. And we have seen major investors from overseas taking advantages, such as in call centers, mail management, data voucher processing, software development, and audiovisual. There's so much information, but perhaps as a presenter, we'd like to focus on key points. Audiovisual. What we have seen is the tax rebate, the scheme that has been provided by the government. A lot of producers from the world are coming to Fiji to make movies. And this is a very wonderful opportunity in terms of tourism, in terms of investment, and in terms of audiovisual. Next slide. Tourism, the largest source of foreign exchange, contributing around 1.3 billion or 17% of GDP. Investment opportunities, I'm writing here, there's so many, but these are the important ones. Ecotourism, integrated resort. We need retirement resorts in Fiji. It's very important. Hospital health tourism, new concept in Fiji, growing. We need more investment in this. Villas and sports tourism. These are the traditional ones. Next slide. Renewable energy, I'm not sure with the statistics, but the government of Fiji wants by 2014 that 90% of Fiji's economy should be using renewable energy power generation. And therefore, the government is emphasizing on giving incentives for such. And the investment opportunities that are included are new renewable energy plants in Tawa to Reki to cater for new demand in new tax-free zones, solar energy projects, and rural energy projects. Next slide. Having explained in simple terms what are the opportunities that is available, I would also like to focus on the premier organization, being Investment Fiji, that looks after investors. That is where I work, actually. Established in 1980 as the Economic Development Board, former Fiji citizens who are here would know that its name changed to FTIB, and in 2012 its name has changed to, or rebranded to, Investment Fiji. Investment Fiji is guided by the Foreign Investment Act 1999 and 2004, which got amended, and obviously the Investment Amendment Decree 2013. The roles of Investment Fiji: to promote, facilitate, and stimulate both investment and exports; to be the principal agent for the government to assist foreign and local investors; assist in investment and trade delegation and missions as such; and obviously the most important thing is registration, facilitation, monitoring of foreign projects. The modus operandi, what we have seen earlier, was that the investor will come to Investment Fiji or former FTIB, register and forget about Investment Fiji, and vice versa. And the investor was not assisted, or rather the investor came for assistance. Therefore, we had seen the number of projects from 2004 to 2008 was unimplemented. Not good quality investors were coming, as in their fees was only $14 that time. Fees increased, but the relationship now is that Investment Fiji, with these two divisions, will take the investor, assist through any, permits, delays with other government agencies, which I'll elaborate further. When I say that as an investor, you categories assessed to the reserved, restricted, and open category. Reserve is, as the name suggests, reserved for locals. There's 15 odd, if you read there. These are ones that are meant for locals. There are restricted activities. Again, as the name suggests, there's some restrictions, like say about fishing. If any foreign investor would like to do fishing, in the restricted activity, bullet number 1, 30% should be owned by a local equity. And the investment level is $500,000. So combining the reserved and the restricted activity falls around 7% of the total sectors. However, we also had if you see right down under the line, is an unspecified activity. That required or had a minimum requirement of $250,000, ladies and gentlemen, which the government, seeing the number of investors, had been waived completely. So that is where 93% of the investment would fall. So this is just basically showing the guide on what, as an investor or as a foreign investor, you can do or engage in. Next slide. Once I believe I repeat these things as sustainability and return on investment are the key things that the investor looks for. And obviously, through this journey, through the presentation, you might see certain presenters will give you all the incentives, all the tax structure that you're after, then you will decide. But what are the steps? Which is the key focus that the investor has to also look at? These are the steps that investor, any types of business that you will be undertaking, will have to go through. Here we classify them in two categories, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 is the most frequent agencies that the investor has to go and has to attain approvals from. Like so, if you wanted to form a company, then you have to go to Register of Companies to reserve a name. You will come to Investment Fiji for the Foreign Investment Registration Certificate. You'll go back to Register of Companies for your business registration. You'll go to Fiji Revenue Customs and Authority for tax and VAT registration, compulsory. Reserve Bank for issuance of shares, partnership interest, and obviously as key holders, as key investors, key shareholders, you'll qualify for work permit in Fiji. Depending on the nature that an investor would like to engage, they were also required to attain, say, from other agencies, which we name as Tier 2. Next slide. So these are the Tier 2 agencies. Around 26 of that are there. I've not included all. However, as an investor, you're thinking at your mind, how many agencies that I have to go through? This will be a hassle for me. It won't be, because Investment Fiji, as I've told, as I've explained, is the premier organization that will assist you to go through a journey. Registration is not the stop for Investment Fiji. As you'll come, you are today here, you will express your interest, say in certain sectors, you want to invest, say in the tourism sector. And you register through one of the lawyers, accountants who represent you through Investment Fiji. However, it is imperative that we are the organizations formed because of you, because of investors. So we will assist you. It is that we are emphasizing now on three key roles: registration, facilitation. What does Investment Fiji do in facilitation? We assist investors through providing information, assistance for both Tier 1 and 2 approvals. We fast track and streamline your processes. Some of the investors, especially in the tourism sector, may face problems. So we assist them. Assist in resolving conflicts, identifying potential site for development, and as at what I understand from September 2013 last year, we are also helping local investors. Therefore, if they are former Fiji citizens here who may opt for the option of rather registering but going for dual citizenship, we will still register, we'll still assist them. So it's a win-win situation in that scenarios. And just for statistics purpose, end of last year, last year 2013, we have assisted around 1,381 investor projects. And we had conducted 142 site visits. What I'm trying to tell, ladies and gentlemen, our organization will assist you. That is what I'm trying to emphasize. But the next step, through our regulating power, we also monitor projects. Because what we have seen is some investors who are not guided properly may not obviously do what is required from them. So as a regulatory organization, we do monitor. But it's not that we will monitor to make you frightened. It's not that. And then, of course, we had 616 monitoring site visits and total of 129 interagency meetings, both Tier 1 and Tier 2. The very purpose is to have a better collaboration, have a better commitment from the government to support investors. I'm showing trends for both overall and Australian investors. I usually use line graph, but I do not know. This bar graph shows a lot of things. If you see in 2010, just have a 4-year time series data here with me. From 2010 to 2013, this is the overall numbers. The blue one signifies the number of projects. Therefore, 117 went to 113, which went to 130, which went to 257. Any economic projection would indicate that from 2012 to 2013, the number of investors doubled, nearly more doubled. In terms of numbers, what does the orange one indicate? This is the number of proposals in terms of overall investment that Investment Fiji has received. 592 million, dropped to 466 million, 703 million last year, and shoot to 1.1 billion. Does that indicate any investor confidence? If it can. Next slide. And what is the overall investment breaking down? I have shown in the previous slide 4 years, but I had data for 5 years in this. So if you see the predominant sector that foreign investors would like to engage is services, is wholesale retail, is tourism, is agriculture and forestry. And this is the numbers. Let's see the values. Next slide. Services in the first slide was quite huge in terms of numbers. But what we have seen, tourism as both the foreign highest earner in terms of foreign exchange is also the most important sector in terms of value, followed by real estate, financial intermediation, and utilities. So do they generate employment? Reginald, next slide. Yes, they do. And services does contribute around 5,000 or propose to contribute around 5,000 for the last 5 years. Next slide. So let's see what our Australian investors are doing, apart from winning the golf. The trend is 2010, there's 34. I am focusing only on the number of Australian projects which are 100% here. But they may have formed joint ventures with other stakeholders, which is not emphasized here. Purely Australian data. 2010, we have seen 34 projects, 2011, 41, 2012, 28 projects, and 2013, January to June, was 33. The numbers were more like, not that fluctuating manner, but if you see the values from 112 million to 45 million to 51 million went to 340 million. Is this an indication of the interest? Yes, it is. The reforms that Investment Fiji has taken, apart from all others, I would like to focus only on two. One is, as we have seen, the investor comes in different types of sectors. Therefore, what Investment Fiji has done is to adapt the approach for investor-based, sector-based officer. So if you go to Investment Fiji, there will be sector officers that they will accommodate and assist you as per your sectors if you have any questions. That's one thing. Before the HR was not, looking overall. However, as in when we streamline this, we have seen this is very effective. So if you register with Investment Fiji today, we will allocate an officer full-time who would look after your business in terms of giving you advice. We also will liaise with other government agencies on your behalf. So please have confidence on us. Technology synergy, next slide if you see. I'd like to focus through this. If you remember on the fourth or the fifth slide, I focus on the tier 1 agencies. What reforms that we have taken is that around those agencies that I have mentioned, Investment Fiji, Register of Companies, FERCA, Fiji Revenue Customs Authority, Reserve Bank, and Immigration, Investment Fiji tried to streamline all this process. And what we have seen, there was around 940 requirements that an investor has to go through in order to register for the 5 things. However, through this is just an illustration on what we are trying to set, but what we have seen perhaps at the end of the 3rd quarter, we will have online features where the investor will be able to both register and pay online. And that development has seen from 940 requirements to around 40 requirements now. And it is not an easy journey for Fiji. As I was explaining, we have done this for the 5 agencies. And this is the reason why perhaps next year you'll see as investors or potential investors who have your colleagues may be able to get online registration in quicker time instead of taking 3 months or 2 months. However, that is a reality that will perhaps commence very soon, we also have a dream way forward. We want to do the same thing for all the Tier 2 agencies. They have around 15,000 requirements. So we will streamline them to make it very short, very small, in which the investor just clicks and registers very quickly. Is that possible? Why is you laughing? Everyone's laughing. Who else has done that? Any country you can know? Tier 1, Tier 2 both. Meaning non-mandatory, mandatory requirements. Anyone you can tell?
Australia does that.
Too advanced. But you are investors here. So we will try to help you as well, ma'am. Secondly, we will also recommend that Fiji will continue not with the current proactive policies in terms of investors, but also create environment for it. Say, if you are investor who is engaged or would like to engage in agriculture, and the government is focusing on a lot of incentives for agriculture. But what we have seen in the line is that it's very hard for an investor, I'm saying SME investors, to get loans from banks. We would like to solve that. Thirdly, reforms in basic infrastructure development of both agriculture and tourism developments. My last slide. Investment climate in Fiji is favorable. You've seen it through trend. Ask anyone else. Government has given priority for investors in improving both institutional commitments. Although we are a developing nation, as I've mentioned, Tier 1 agencies have got on board and are there together. Tier 2 will be getting together. That is what the government is saying, institutional commitment. And obviously, you'll see that we have a very conducive or a favorable investment policy. Lastly, therefore, do not miss out, as this is the right time to invest. Thank you.